insult me all the time? Why can't you address what I said rather than insulting me? Why is that necessary?
Unvaccinated guy who gobbled horse goo? Rest in peace, Wheezy. It's like Democrats generally are whiny, they're annoying.
Trying to tell Scrap and Travis Scott, they was like, help. The whole crowd was just going like, help. He just kept going, bro.
Being a psychologist studying empathy today is a little bit like being a climatologist studying the polar ice caps. We discover the value of something just as it disappears all around us.
Oh my goodness, that's not a small word to define.
So I always picture empathy as being one step beyond sympathy.
I would define empathy as really putting yourself into somebody else's shoes and trying your best to understand their perspective.
Being able to listen to other people's views and be okay with having different views, and even being willing to have an open mind about what they have to say.
Being open and not judging, and really listening and understanding.
Empathy is one of the building blocks of trust and friendship.
It builds connections and it makes people closer together, and it shows a little bit of your heart to others.
We need to be connected with others, and being connected with others means understanding how people think and feel, and not just the people you're close to or the people that you're like, but people who are different from you.
At the end of the day, everyone's struggling over something. And for me, obviously, I'm paralyzed, so you can see my wheelchair, but a lot of people inside, you don't know what's going on in them. So it's important that everyone just empathize that just because someone might look happy or whatever, they might not be. So I pulled up to Zuma Beach and waves were going off. Nobody was out. I think I put my wetsuit on in like 5 seconds, and my other friends were like drinking coffee and like you guys are lagging, right? And I paddled out, caught a bunch of waves, and then an hour later I took off on a wave and I pulled inside this barrel, and when I came out, the wave hit me in my back and I went head first into the water, and I thought it was deeper than it was, but it was a shallow sandbar at Zuma, and hit my head and everything went numb and tingly, and I was just like, wow. Next thing I remember, I was in the hospital and they told me that I broke my neck. Like I said, I was only 17 years old. I didn't have a lot of life experience, so I was just still growing up. So over the years, definitely got a bigger appreciation for people with disabilities, you know, people that maybe struggled with weight, struggled with different problems in their life, you know what I mean? Where people might make fun of somebody or joke around, and I just look at it like sometimes just people don't have a choice and some cards are just dealt. I'm happy that I got injured doing something I love rather than whether it was a car accident or getting shot or whatever it is, you know? At least I got doing it something I love. So it took me a few years. I always wanted to get back in the water, but nobody was doing this before me, so it was like hard to figure out what to do, like how I was going to adapt to board, what I was going to do, who was going to help me. So it took some time, but you know, I was one of the first people in a wheelchair to figure that out. And after 3 years, I kind of got back in the water, and then that's when it hit me like, oh man, I should start a foundation. And then everyone also was like, oh, life goes on, man, life goes on. I was like, I looked down and I saw a wheelchair and I was like, oh, life rolls on. It's like, that's a sick name. So I called all my friends and they loved it. And then I trademarked that name.
If it wasn't for the physicality, you'd never know. He was in a chair, period. You'd never know anything was, you know, had changed in his life. And he's just so full of life. He was not depressed. He was not like, oh, look at me, I'm in a wheel. No, he was like, let's go. I'm gonna get out in the water. Look at that. Those sets are coming in. And so that had a huge impact on me, and so much so that it wasn't just a story for that day, for that newscast. It turned into a documentary that I spent 8 years of my life covering, because I was blown away by this human being and how anything that he wanted, anything that he desired, he'd figure out a way to make it happen.
But now, like, all of the events that are starting to happen with adaptive surfing, they all look at me as like the GOAT who started it, you know? So it's cool. Like, I've been doing this for 20 years, maybe more, and so it feels good to be recognized as someone like that, you know? But I just want everyone around the world to be able to get out of their wheelchairs and do something that they love, whatever it is, like surfing, skateboarding, fishing, whatever they like.
When the waves hit you and I'm actually riding the wave, it's awesome. It feels so freeing. So it's something I never did when I could stand up and walk. I never did it, but in this chair, it's making me go out and face some challenges.
And could you tell me a little bit about your story?
Well, back in '96, I was diagnosed with MS, and from there it's progressed. I wasn't always in a chair, but as time goes on, things happen. But I'm not stopping, so I'm thankful to God that He has enabled me to, with my family, and to come out and enjoy this. And I love Life Rolls On. The group that's doing this is just awesome. It's just beautiful.
And what advice would you give to other people that have disabilities?
Live. Tomorrow isn't promised to anyone, but you have today. Live and enjoy today, and accept your challenges. They're challenges to be met, not to be run away from.
I mean, one of the most rewarding things about leading and being the executive director, founder of Life Rolls On, is I get to do something that doesn't feel like a job. I do something because I love it. It's a passion of mine. I get to go to the beach. I get to go to skate parks. I get to see families that are crying and smiling and laughing, and people that are coming together, bringing inspiration. Like, I mean, look, like these events have 300 to 500 people, and then imagine when they go back to their own communities, how many more people are affected by their motivation, their inspiration, and what they get from these events. So to me, it's just the best thing is just I provide an opportunity for someone to feel something special that they would have never felt if we didn't have these events. And it's not always easy, you know, it's not always easy because a lot of these people look forward to these days all year and they get to do it one time, and they have struggles at home, you know, like maybe it takes them a couple hours just to get ready in the morning. And so what I always tell them is out of sight, out of mind. If you stay home, nobody could see you and your struggles, you know. So, but when you get out, people can see you, and then they can empathize, you know, be like, oh wow, that's an inspiration, and maybe that will change their life just by seeing, like some of these people at the beach. They don't know what's going on, but they might see someone in a wheelchair surf, and that could change their outlook on life just randomly. I've had people come up to me and tell me, without these events or without me talking to them, they were thinking about committing suicide. So what could be more inspiring than that? You know, like for someone to come to one of these events and change their mind about life, that's pretty powerful.
So I'm almost a 50-year-old man, and I cried today. Actually, yeah, sorry. This is how happy it makes me. Like, seeing these people's faces and they're so excited there's no money you can put on that. Zero money. And these people have become my family after 19 years. I surfed with a girl today that she was 3 and now she's 16. You know? For some of these people that have never surfed or they think that they can't do something, they totally can. And after they've done their first event, they're surfers.
This is probably my 8th year. My first event was here, and I fell in love with it right away because it's just one of the most incredible things of all time. You see someone like Rebecca, she's been with us probably 10 years, and it's just incredible the energy that everyone brings.
That's awesome.
Look at her, yeah!
Woo! Yeah!
It's just being aware of there's another community here, people. It's not just about you, you know, there's others out there. You know, we need to care for them and love for them and be aware, help support them in any way we can. You know, Jesse has blown up into something that's just, I don't think he even expected. You know, I don't think it's something that he tried to do. He just kept showing up and it turned into what it turned into, and his story is amazing.
These events are all about spreading love and empathy and respect and in all the communities. The skateboarding, the surfing is just an excuse to bring people together, but it's what happens throughout the day. It happens after the event. People are super stoked and they're posting stories and videos and photos, and it lives on, you know, like all the photos and video live on. And sometimes people don't need that inspiration today or tomorrow, but maybe in a month from now, they'll watch a video and be inspired then. Maybe whenever they need it, it's there. That's what's important, you know?